Welcome. I'm your host, Bruce Ray Wilson. Today we will be discussing mastering the Snowball Prompt chain. When I was a child, we could take a snowball and roll it down a hill, and it gradually get bigger and bigger and bigger. The snowball prompt technique in AI involves starting with a small, simple request and gradually adding complexity through subsequent prompts. This method is called a snowball because, much like a snowball rolling down a hill, gathering more snow, the conversation or task becomes larger and more detailed as it progresses. This technique can be especially useful for complex tasks, such as what we're doing today, creative endeavors, or when trying to extract detailed information from an AI system. With the snowball prompt chain, you can do the same thing. You can start with something small and you can grow it and grow it, and it just keeps on getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Here we have a snowball prompt mermaid chart. Each box gets bigger and bigger as it goes along. I have made each successive box larger so that you can visualize that the project is growing. Here is a portion of my second prompt. So these are the instructions to the LLM. So I tell it, only give the output as a Python list of JSON. Okay, so this is something that I have told it, only give the output as a Python list of JSON. As of the November the 2nd preview version, OpenAI updated GPT-4 to produce JSON as output. I have told it no explanations, and this is important. So if you've worked with ChatGPT-4 or others, you notice that they give you an explanation. They start off with some information, then they would give you the actual JSON, and then they go through and give a summary. By adding this no explanations comment, this is very important. It eliminates all of that extra information. And so you only get the JSON. Then I go on to tell it that the CPP file and the JSON struct are as follows, and then I insert those into the prompt. The CPP file that I inserted into the prompt was a .h file for an accounting class. The output that I'm showing you here is a single JSON struct from within the list that was generated by prompt 2. The combined output for prompt 1 and prompt 2 includes the number of the method within the class name, the method declaration, the method name, and then also the method definition. This is how I like to write my prompts. I learned this technique from David Shapiro. Later, somebody was able to hack the GPT-4 prompt, and it looks similar to this. The key thing is to break things out into sections, so I'm using the hashtag to do that. In this prompt, I do not have any subsections, but in other prompts that I've written, there are subsections, and so I use the double hashtag to do that. The first section that I have in this prompt is a personality. So I just simply tell it that you are a helpful C++ and Python guru and assistant. The next section, the background section, I believe is important. In this section, I give it the overall background of what is happening. In this particular case, I am telling it that this is a step in the process of creating a G-test unit test. I then specify the input. Then I give it specific instructions that I want it to perform. This particular example is for C++ unit testing, but the same structure applies. You break down the instructions that you want this particular prompt to perform. Then I have an output section, and I tell it to give the output as a Python list of JSON. I have this next section titled Additional, where I'm telling it not to give an explanation so that I only end up with the actual list of JSON that I'm looking for. Then I tell it the Python struct is as follows, and then I insert the list of Python structs. We are adding a layer to our snowball. So here in the prompt 3 output, we have added a new key value pair. In this particular example, the key is mocked method name, and in our instructions for this prompt, we told it to collect the various methods that need to be mocked. So mocked method name is the next layer in our snowball. Prompt 4 performs a minor touch-up to the JSON. Here we have prompt 5. I cut off the personality and background information so that the text didn't get too small on us. In prompt 5, I have explained the input, and I also have included instructions on how to process that input. The important takeaway here is that we're adding layers to the snowball. Do not get caught up in the details of creating a unit test. This is just an example. Here is the prompt 5 output. I have formatted the information so that it is easier to read. The bottom line is that we've added another layer to the snowball. We started with a simple prompt. Then we added details. We expanded on the scope of those details. And we continued to do this until we ended up with a list of JSON structs that contained all of the information necessary for our particular task. And remember, logic will get you from A to Z. Imagination will get you everywhere. Bye-bye.